Do as I say, not as I do has never worked for parenting. It also doesn't work in leadership of any other kind, because what you do and how you lead is exactly how the people on your team are either going to act, or if they hate it enough, they will simply leave.
The way I look at it, team management specifically, is that it's actually inverse parenting. As a parent, you're starting with, this little thing that's so dependent on you. And actually, so many people say that some of the most challenging times in their lives, and I remember this when my daughter, she's 6.5 now, when she was very little, the drain, the energy of having to take care of this tiny little innocent nugget that poops and screams a lot, it was awful. It was crazy in the sense of just trying to figure out how to navigate that. But things get easier as they get older. You build more relationships and you actually help them become independent. A team is the other way around. They come in on their first 3 months, everybody's on their best behavior. They're doing great. They're listening. They're, respecting you, whatnot. But then you had, 6, 9, 10, 12 months with teams, and you start running exactly into that. The power struggle as the complexity settle in, and you have to push through towards creating an entity that's so based on loyalty and good communication and also professionalism and skill set that you can take on bigger and bigger challenges. As a manager, your life is supposed to get more difficult, because if you're doing what you were doing 5 years ago as a company or as a team, and you keep doing that now, you're actually regressing. You're actually now falling behind. You're losing your competitive edge. You always have to pick up bigger and bigger projects. I respect Elon Musk for that, because he's always finding new, bigger projects, and he understands that type of growth mentality. Many people do not, but that also now means that you as a leader have to evolve. I 100% agree with Greg, but you now also need to convince your team and convince your partners that they need to make their life harder and not easier, and push that evolution. Does emotional intelligence play into that, Greg? And how, if so, if it does, then how?
1,000%. So, I was thinking about your baby analogy, right? I might argue that the first 3 months they're pooping and crying as a new employee, right? And we're just super nurturing about it, right? We're like, it's okay, we'll clean you up and wipe you up and feed you and do you, right? And then all of a sudden, we've got them, they do some sleep training. And we're like, this is amazing. In 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, what happens is a sleep regression, right? Now the baby's up at night. And what happens to you as a manager and a leader? You get tired. And when you're tired and you're fatigued, guess what's not operating? Your intelligent brain, right? Your frontal lobe, right? That frontal cortex, which in my language we call the adult ego state, the adult side of your personality, the side that allows you to operate with intelligence and observation and awareness and stuff. So the more fatigued we are, and there's something called frontal lobe stress, by the way, which is we are so fatigued from operating in an objective, rational way, making decisions all day, right? That when we get fatigued and we're now faced with some of these more difficult team members in the 6 months and 9 months, right? We are now reactive to that situation as the leader. So back to emotional intelligence, being able to manage that. And again, emotional intelligence and the management, actually better way. Emotional management, and for the audience, as I said earlier, emotional management is not a complicated thing. One of the things that I always remind people of, emotional management is not feeling. It's not that you don't get angry or you're not stressed or you're not feeling the thing. In fact, the way your brain works and the way we work as human beings is we feel before we think. In fact, feelings become the mode of how we process things, right? That's why storytelling works so well, right? So we feel before we think. What we got to get really good at is pausing that instinctive reaction. So one of the ways we teach, one of the key things we teach is something called a stop concept. And the simple aspect of this is your ability to be aware of what the trigger is. So we call them trigger events. And those trigger events, I get hooked. Right? So my personality, my emotional side, my fight or flight gets hooked, like engage, the amygdala goes. What I now got to do is I now need to operate with delay. And the way I delay is through the concept of stop, which I am pausing my instinctive response or reaction. By the way, we all do this very naturally. When you want to kill someone, you go, maybe I shouldn't. When you want to say the thing, but you go, no, maybe I shouldn't, right? That is the most natural thing that we don't take advantage of, is making that more of a conscious effort. right? So back to that management and leadership, right? You're a human being. So, you will operate with that same level of stress as, again, those team members. Your responsibility as a manager, as a leader, is to be more skilled in managing the heightened frequency or that heightened emotion in the moment in order to get back to what we call the adult ego state.
If you like this clip, I know you're going to enjoy the full episode. You can watch it right here.